Hi there. It is May, and I know I normally come in and chat on Fridays, but I am traveling tomorrow to go see somebody graduate from college. So I'm super excited, but I will be traveling personally tomorrow. So we are coming live Thursday instead. It's been a while since we had a switch a day, but it might happen quite a bit in the next couple months, but we'll see. We'll see. So, my name is Trisha Broderick. I'm with Ignite Insight and Innovation. And today's topic is one that honestly I'm a little like, I don't know, humility gets the best of me, I guess, or something, or fear of being arrogant that I'm like, oh, do I want to talk about this topic? Do I not? But coming off a conference just recently, I think it's really important to talk about this topic. So, this topic is kind of finding your unique aspects. So, this 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 has come about in a couple different ways. One, uh, when you go to a conference, you go to an event and you're meeting with other people and everybody's like, "Hi, I'm Trisha. I'm a leadership advisor." And the next person's like, "Hi, I'm Paul. I'm a leadership advisor." And everybody's saying leadership advisor, or you can replace it with agile coach or scrum master or project manager or even executive. And it kind of feels like that one, it doesn't really differentiate you. Two, it doesn't really tell the story about who you are or what you are. That's just a current role. And all these roles don't really translate across the organization, across company either. And so what might be a scrum master at one place could be an agile coach at another place, could be a project manager at a different place. The title itself is already tough enough for me. But even if you go to the role, like I'm a leader or a team lead, and regardless of the title, it still doesn't always differentiate. Everybody's, or we want everybody to be a leader. So how does that differentiate you? Right. And I'm part of this community and this group. And at one point, Mike Cohn, and I won't say it verbatim, but he was basically responding to a thread of things. And he highlighted uh, really find what is unique that brings people to you. What are you known for? And look, I've already called attention to this on my blog posts in different areas. Mike has given me pearls of wisdom throughout my entire career, or majority of especially my agile career. And so when he said it, it kind of registered with me, but it just sat there. Ever have that experience where you have somebody give you, and it's not even directed at you, but you hear something, you're like, oh, there's something more there, but I got to just let it soak. Right. So all of this is kind of happening. I'm trying to get better at, somebody asked me what my tagline is. I was like, I don't know. I'm not in marketing. I don't care. Like people either like me or don't. And I don't know. I really fought this, honestly. But I kept hearing Mike's comments. I kept experiencing it when I was going to the conferences, when I was trying to introduce myself now. I really didn't want to introduce with a title or a label. And so I did start coming back to that tagline. It kept coming back to what are you known for? What makes you unique? What's your differentiator? What are you, the thing that obviously they have to come to you for? Now, I will still the imposter syndrome and be like, no, obviously more people than just me can do that. But I still started like sitting with it of like, what makes me unique, or what describes what I do, and how do I do that, and what that is. So I started brainstorming a couple different things. And I looked at it from, one angle of what do people come to me for, right? What is the content, the experience, the knowledge, the abilities that I have that people come to me for? And I started listing that out, and it was a wide spectrum, depended on the situation or the scenario, but the common thread was leadership, and so hopefully that was good. It reinforced me being a leadership advisor. But 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 honestly, like, there was still that part of me that went, but lots of people know this stuff. Lots of people are leadership talented, knowledgeable, skilled, and sometimes we have overlap, sometimes we're slightly different in our approaches or our styles or our experiences, but that's not really a differentiator. In some ways, in my head, I think I started thinking of that as like a necessity. It's a foundation. Like you shouldn't be advising people if you don't have the skill, the knowledge, the ability, right? Like it should be common sense. But I understand that not always is the case. But for me, that was wasn't the game changer. It wasn't really a description of who I am. And that's when I started like looking at it more less from um an aspect, but just like who I am, what do I bring to the table, what makes me unique. And so I started doing more brainstorming and I started thinking about who are the people come to me, what can they expect, right? So I did a whole realm of like who are the people that come to me, and I can get anybody from, C-suite level executives to brand new people coming out of college going, where do I start? How do I start? To people who are interested in speaking, to people that are learning agile. So again, I had that wide spectrum of who might be coming to me. And so I looked at it from a slightly different additional angle. And I said, who are the people coming to me, but what can they expect from me? And this is where it started to get interesting for me, because yes, they could expect the experience, the knowledge, the stories and those things. But I started thinking about things that when people would say, I am coming to you because I want the truth, or I'm coming to you because I know, one of my favorite compliments I ever got was like, you put me on a tightrope, but I always know you're the safety net below. And I was like, oh, that like I'm going to challenge you, but I'm going to support you. I'm going to be empathetic, but I'm going to call bullshit. Right? Like I am kind of a strange cat in that way, right? Like I'm very direct, very oh, I don't even know what word I want to use. Somebody else could put a word in there for me in the bio, but in the comments. But I call it like I see it. There's very little filter often from here to here. And I've highlighted that. Heck, I go live. These aren't scripted. I have general little notes, but whatever's gonna fly out of my mouth is gonna fly out of my mouth. And if I have to make apologies, I will. Like I will mess up. I will do things. I will say something I shouldn't have, or things along those lines. And then I learn from that, right? So I come from a very no pretense here, right? I'm not gonna put up walls. I'm not gonna pretend. I can't do fake. And with that though, is sometimes people are like, well, she'll be, she could be rude and things like, but the interesting part is it isn't from that place. For me, I am so empathetic. Like I usually am that direct and I challenge and I do those things because I see the potential, right? I see what lies you might be telling to yourself, because a lot of times they were lies I told to myself, right? I can sometimes see myself in others and what has held me back or what has made me do apologies and things along those lines, that I want to pay it forward. I want to help, right? And so I started thinking about this dynamic of yes, people come to me for my skills, my knowledge, my content, but they choose me because I'm empathetic but authentic. I'm vulnerable but challenge, right? I'll be vulnerable, but I'll challenge you. I'll connect with you, and I'll support you, right? Like all this combination of like honoring the human, but not letting it be an excuse. And that's what I started realizing really resonated with me, because not everybody can say that. And not everybody is that. And not everybody should be that, right? I have wonderful mentors that are not empathetic in the least bit, and I adore them. Sometimes want to smack them, but I adore them, right? For what they do and how they do it. And so this isn't something that everybody is. And when they're, what I'm being known for is that dynamic. And so it started kind of me down that path of thinking, well, what would that tagline be? What would that how would I want to introduce myself, right? What would I want to say? And sure, I can go, hi, my name is Trisha Broderick. I'm the founder of Ignite and Insight and Innovation. I co-wrote a book called Lead Without Blame. I've done X, Y, and Z titles, right? I've been in these industries, but all of those things, as proud of them as I am, as much of as they make up who I am, don't explain my unique delivery. Don't explain why you should choose me. Don't explain who I'm about and what I'm about, or what you get when you get me. Right. And so I started playing with my company name, right? Like I started playing with the Ignite Because although naming my company almost broke me, the blue flame and the word ignite was always present. It was trying to get the last of it together for me to actually name the company. And so I started playing with ignite. And at first I was kind of thinking, okay, well, I'll play off I see things, right? So sometimes I can see the big picture. Sometimes I can see what you're not willing to say. Sometimes I can see, but why do I do that? What's my goal in that? And it's because it's not to hurt you. It's not to embarrass you, to blame you, to shame or anything along those. What it's for is to try and unlock, right? To move forward, to discover. And so I started playing with kind of the tagline of like, what's possible. But I have and there was something there, but I had kind of a hesitation there because I definitely get worried if I had just something like ignite possibilities, like is where I went first, like ignite possibilities. And I liked it, but it wasn't unique to me because there is a part of me that is very protective of the privilege that I carry, not in that I want to maintain the privilege, but that I want to recognize it because what might be possible for me may not be possible for everybody. There are things that in my life, no matter how hard I want it, no matter what kind of dream board I have, no matter what, will never be the case because there are some things that are just not actually possible, right? And so I sometimes am very protective of that, especially related to trauma kinds of things in people's lives, because it can be very invalidating and dismissive when you act like, well, if you just dream it hard enough or you just think hard enough, everything will work out splendid. And I'm like, yeah, that's not, it's not a true statement. And then it doesn't feel authentic. And like I said earlier, I don't do fake, right? But there was something there. So I just kept playing with it. And I ended up, stumbling on, honestly, and I actually said it a second ago because it's so natural for me now, is hi, my name is Trisha Broderick, and I help ignite what's possible. By just throwing that extra little word in there, it addresses my like, you can't just wish everything, right? Not everything's a possibility. But yet, let's move towards the ones that are, right? And really when I'm working with people, no matter your role, my role, situation or things, that's ultimately what I'm trying to do. Leadership advisor is how I do it sometimes. But what I'm trying to do, right? Always start with the why, is I'm trying to ignite what's possible. I'm trying to help people move forward. I'm trying to level things up, your organization, yourself, your customers. And then that started, as with everything, right? You just make that flip and you're like, oh, well, why? Why is I'm igniting what's possible? How? I'm a leadership advisor and co-author, right? Like, and then it just started clicking together and it got really easy for me to now introduce myself. I actually kind of like bios now. I mean, kind of, not significantly, but I do like and enjoy introducing myself much more than I ever did before because it felt like a check mark before. It felt like bragging or competition or something. I don't and I don't even know if any of those were true. It was just something always in my head. And so, but when I'm introducing myself and I say, hey, yes, I'm Trisha Broderick and I help people ignite what's possible, it's so to the point of what I am about, and how I might do it might vary, but then that's part of the conversation that we then can engage in if that's intriguing to you, if that's interesting to you. And if it's not, then awesome, but now we know that and you might not be looking for me. So if I go back to Mike's comment or comment, statement and things like, what do people come to you for? And what people come to me for is hope, is moving forward, is figuring out what is possible and moving towards it. And that's often at the end of the day, all the patterns, all the brainstorming I did, that was the common thread. And so by the time I finally found it, it got really easy to say and to own it and to move forward. So hopefully that's a little bit for something for you to kind of explore and think about, especially as things get a little chaotic or more chaotic in this world. What do I have coming up? I have an incredibly busy month of May. So first I'm going to graduation, but then and then my daughter's graduating high school, so I'm super excited about that. But then I am coming to Michigan to do an in-person 1-day class, and then next day another class. So I'm partnering up with Michigan Technology Services and doing a class at the end of May. You can message me or look at Michigan Technology Services to get registered for that. You won't see that on my site. I actually should probably start listing that on my site, or you can find it on LinkedIn with that. But I should probably start listing those on my site just to cross-reference them. I have a couple virtuals coming up. I have like 2 small workshops in June, and then my next Leading Amazing Teens class that I do with Jake in August. Those are all virtual, but that's the only virtual things I have coming up. I will be at the end of this month in Budapest for a craft conference doing a keynote there. And then Mile High Agile is coming July 27th to Denver. Please get registered. Please join us. We're excited for this event. I won't be speaking, but I'm helping organize it. So it's even better. And then I will be at Agile. That's the lead-in event to Agile 20 Alliance's Agile 2025. That's going to also be in Denver in July. And I will also be a keynote there. So I'm really looking forward to this next few months. It's just very happy and excited to be connecting with people, seeing people in person, and getting to do a number of different things. If you have a specific topic you're looking for, you want me to rant about, just let me know. Otherwise, have a wonderful May. I'll see you next month.